that off. A quintet of runners over 2 miles 7 furlongs in the WTO Grady Memorial Irish EBF Novice Hurdle. And as expected, is Kilbree Warrior setting off to make the running from Cardamom Hill on the inside of stable companion San Benito with those 2 Embassy Gardens. 5 lengths back to Meeting of the Waters as they approach the turn into the straight, still on their way to the first flight. Kilbree Warrior, followed by San Benito Embassy Gardens, Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters as they corner for the first flight. Kilbree Warrior, Richie Condon up and over from San Benito, Davy Russell, red and white colours on the outside, Embassy Gardens and Paul Townend, followed by Cardamom Hill and Jordan Gainford. 5th of the 5, Meeting of the Waters and Michael O'Sullivan, as the leader Kilbree Warrior comes into the second flight. Not allowed to get away so far. San Benito Embassy Gardens, both within 4 to 5 lengths, and then Cardamom Hill, who's dropped to second and third at this point in time. Now near to the back, Meeting of the Waters, the overall back mark. Kilbree Warrior makes the bend, taking them up the far side, leading by 5 lengths to San Benito and Embassy Gardens, then Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters. Approaching flights 3, 4 and 5 up the far side, Kilbree Warrior, leads San Benito and Embassy Gardens as those 2 go further away from Cardamom Hill, Meeting of the Waters. Kilbree Warrior, Embassy Gardens, made a mistake, did well to find a leg as they return to the next flight up the far side, and their point of departure, Kilbree Warrior from San Benito, Embassy Gardens, Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters. Last up the far side, number 5, Kilbree Warrior with a reduced advantage as Embassy Gardens moves alongside San Benito to dispute the second. Got 6 lengths to Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters. They've gone by the point at which they started. Quite a run back to the 2 flights in the straight in the WTO Grady Memorial Irish EBF Novice Hurdle. Kilbree Warrior has gone again from the front, back in a lead of 5 lengths over San Benito, matching strides with Embassy Gardens for the second, and then Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters as they turn in for the 2 flights in the straight before heading out on their final circuit. Kilbree Warrior, Richie Condon straightening up, pursued by Embassy Gardens, Paul Townend, the red cap on the outside of San Benito, Davy Russell clad in red and white, then Cardamom Hill, Jordan Gainford, Meeting of the Waters, Michael O'Sullivan. Final flight next time as they pass the halfway stage. Kilbree Warrior into this one from Embassy Gardens, who's shifted on from San Benito. That pairing now separated by 2.5 lengths, then Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters. Out they go again on this, their final circuit. Another 5 flights left to jump. Under 10 furlongs to go. Kilbree Warrior from Embassy Gardens. In third place, San Benito. And then Cardamom Hill and Meeting of the Waters. Spaced out with a mile left to go and 5 flights to jump. Is Kilbree Warrior and Richie Condon, followed by Embassy Gardens, Paul Townend. In third, San Benito and Davy Russell. Cardamom Hill, Jordan Gainford, Meeting of the Waters, Michael O'Sullivan. Each runner racing by themselves, approaching the first of 3 up the far side. Kilbree Warrior from Embassy Gardens, clouting that in third was San Benito, then Cardamom Hill, nudged along in fourth, and then Meeting of the Waters. Next up the bag, Kilbree Warrior, poised in second is Embassy Gardens, as Cardamom Hill moves into third place, ahead of stable companion San Benito, who's fading, ahead of Meeting of the Waters. Kilbree Warrior, ridden along in front, as Embassy Gardens travels up strongly on the outside. 5 furlongs to go, and 2 flights left to jump. Kilbree Warrior and Embassy Gardens. Richie Condon, the busier of the 2 jockeys up front, as Paul Townend appears to have his hands full on Embassy Gardens, coming inside the last half mile. 2 flights to jump when they approach the straight. And the WT O'Grady Memorial Irish EBF Novice Hurdle, and it's Embassy Gardens leading for the first time in the race. Kilbry Warrior on the inside, gone well cleared of Meeting of the Waters, who moves into a remote third ahead of Cardamom Hill. Tailed off is Santanito. Embassy Gardens straightens for the final 2, increasing the advantage over Kilbry Warrior. Back in third is Meeting of the Waters, then Cardamom Hill and Santanito. Long intervals between first and last coming down to the final flight. And the WT O'Grady Memorial Irish EBF Novice Hurdle, and it's Embassy Gardens and Paul Townend a long way clear, safely over the last, flicks through the top bar. Kilbry Warrior in second, and on the run in it is Embassy Gardens really stepping up to the mark over hurdles today, winning hard held the WT O'Grady Memorial Novice. Double wins for Paul Townend and Willie Mullins. Kilbry Warrior a remote second. Meeting of the Waters will fill the third place.
Willie Mullins rejoins us after a double was completed by Embassy Gardens. Willie, congratulations.
Thank you, yes.
And I know probably his 2 main rivals haven't run up to scratch really, but it was hard not to be impressed by that. Has he done anything that surprised you there at all?
Well, just the manner of it. You know, I mean, I was hoping he might win here. I didn't think he would do anything like that. But to me, he just galloped. He could jump a little better, but he galloped them into the ground, you know, and he just galloped the whole way up to the line. So that was very impressive. I mean, that I imagine I'll have a word. I was just chatting to Paddy Aspel there, who's manager for Sean and Bernardine Mulrine, and Sean and Bernardine are away today. So what I imagine we'd be looking at the Albert Bartlett.
You've upped him gradually in distance, 2 miles, 2.5, and the guts of 3 today. Did you always feel maybe the test of stamina to bring out the best in him?
We did. I mean, the first day over 2 miles, we thought it might be a bit short, and it was, and then I was hoping he'd win over 2.5, but I was much more impressed with him over that trip.
Is jumping, I suppose there's still some room for improvement there, would that be fair? Can you sharpen that up?
Yeah, I'm sure we will at home. Not sure. I don't want to run him again. I think, you know, there's nothing. Certainly don't want to run him over 3 miles again anyhow before Cheltenham. Probably just run him in a schooling hurdle, or just do a bit more schooling at home. But this fella has jumped plenty, you know. I'm sure it'll come together.
You're renowned for keeping your options open, but I think we can safely say the Albert Bartlett's the race for this guy, can't we?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I'd want to go on short trip. I know Sean sponsors the Ballymore, but
might have something else for that, might he?
Hopefully, yeah. So no. He looked tailor-made for the other race.
Monkfish skated up in this a few years ago, Willie, before he won the Albert Bartlett. Yeah. Are there any similarities to be drawn between them? Could he potentially be that good?
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think, and Paul said it after the race, he's going to make a better chaser than a hurdler. So, you know, if he is going to be a better chaser, there could be, yeah.
Lovely prospect, no doubt. The feature, the Horse and Jockey Hotel, the second of our grade twos. It didn't go the way you would have liked. Houghton Couleur, though, did look the likely winner when he tipped up at the last. What was your feeling about his performance?
I was delighted with it. I know he was only 6 or 7 pounds at the ratings, but he raced probably a lot better there. Not sure. I haven't been anything in Cheltenham because at his rating, I didn't put him in. Don't think we put him in any of the Grade 1 races. He'd probably have a rating now tomorrow to suggest that he could be entered in one. But whether we'll supplement, we'll just have to go maybe and find a different race for him. There should be a few races around the calendar.
What was your take on the fall, Willie? Because to us it looked as though he jumped the fence fine. The landing gear, for whatever reason, didn't really come out.
Yeah, to me it looked like he slipped. You know, he
almost like Gallopin Deschamps, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that he slipped. And one of those things, you know, thankfully horse jockey are fine.
That's the main thing. Jacques and Persois, it didn't happen today. Are there any positives to take from it?
None. No. Paul wasn't. He didn't impress Paul during the race, and he got to the front, but Paul just wasn't happy with him. You know, maybe age is catching up with him.
Is there anything in your mind from now, or plans on hold? Cheltenham look unlikely?
No, I'll get him home. We'll check him over, and we'll see where we go.
Just the one to come today, that's Bill Away in the Hunter's Chase. He's often vulnerable first time out.
Yeah,
do you feel that could be the case again today?
Yeah, I think he could be vulnerable here today, but you know, Patrick was happy with him. Patrick just wanted to bring him here. I'd rather have got him out earlier in the season, but Patrick said he'd rather wait, and we're doing that plan A for this year. So we'll see what happens after today.
Super. Willie, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Cheers. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Racing TV's YouTube channel now to watch more great races like this.